Hi, welcome back. What I'm doing today is a little different, you, but it's not different as far as exploratory as what I've been doing. We're going to use start dial practices or midpoints, if you will. Now, this is nothing actually to be saying new, but it is a new presentation and a new journey. How I'm going to present myself in YouTube. Midpoints are very interesting and very unique way of looking at the chart, as well as other techniques. You have the Hellenistic, and you have others. Uh, but this is more that I like is relatable because now, whatever you have been looking at your charts and other people's charts, you can now have a different exploratory label or way of seeing a lot more than what is thought of at first. This is one of the first. There's a couple of midpoints I want to get to you, sun, moon. But what I want to express, what are midpoints? Maybe that would be the question, the way to start. Well, midpoints is equal distance between two planets wherever they are located in the chart. So, for example, we have the sign Gemini, and you have one planet, whatever that might be, Mercury, Jupiter, or Venus, at 5 degrees, and you have another planet at 15 degrees Gemini, and that could be Jupiter or it could be the other point. It could be Pluto. And let's say the midpoint between the 5 and 15 would be 10 degrees. Now, here's another factor. This is called a pair of two planets, midpoint of equal distance between them. And if these are a little bit new for conceptual basis, but it'll take a little while. It has a point which you learn and go up and down with it, but the practice of it is so fascinating to me. So I figured if I would share it and see how, and if comments of anything you want me to go over, because this is my intro to it, and from there we're going to start looking at the chart and how to utilize it and time it, like all during the day. It's a certain point where the rising sign of the day constantly, or in the midheaven, both move at a rate at during a day 1 degree every 4 minutes. I'll repeat that again: 1 degree every 4 minutes. So if you have something at five, we're going to start with the two examples: the 15 degrees Gemini and the 5 degree Gemini. You will actually benefit by looking at it. Now, this is easily done. You don't have to get really involved into the math, but if you have a software and the software has what we call an astro clock, which means it currently gives, based off your location, of course, you will begin to see these during the day, both of those the midheaven of the day and the ascendant, as they move or progress or transit through the zodiacal zodiac, is going to touch those degrees once a day. And not only that, you have another one, which would be another way actually, would be the moon. The moon goes through the whole entire zodiac in about approximately to 28, 27 days to 29, depending on the rate of motion, a month. So you'll see the moon, and it's going to stay there at at that degree, either at 5 or 15 again of Gemini, for about approximately 2.5 hours. And you'll see that whole day will be activated by either the moon, or you can look at the transit of the day, which would be the ascendant, which moves actually 4 minutes per degree, pardon me. Every degree, 4 minutes per day. So if you have an astro clock right now in front of you, or you can look at it in the future, I recommend you to look at it and just look at it for, take the time, because it should give you the exact time of your locale. But this is important. This meaning that 10 o'clock your day, you have to look at where it's located at, where the sun, or actually the ascendant is moving. Now I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but we'll go back over it step by step. I just want to give you kind of a outlook of how we're going to investigate the astrology. So please take your time, and if need to, I'm sure it probably will review this tape, and I'm going to go increments very slow because I want to just try to get that across. Now, the point of what I'm recommending this to look at and your chart or anybody else's, see what occurrences that happens on a daily basis, and you begin to see certain patterns. And if not, then make a notation. But I please advise you when you're doing this kind of work and basically in research. So you want to have a notebook and some type of instrument, pen, pencil, whatever, and make notes during the day because there's a lot of events that happens during the day. You have mail at a certain time that comes to you. You have maybe a phone call that may occur, and now that's not every day, but of course these occurrences happen on a routine, possibly a daily basis. Not at the same time, but there's changes, and we'll go into a little bit more in depth about the changes that I'm referring to. So you have also time when if you're going on a short trip, third house, Mercury. See what time it is. Make a notation of the time so you'll be able to make notes of that. And then you can see a repeating pattern, meaning you can use your own phone device and set up alarms. And you can set up, I'm sure they have 2 or 3 alarms that you can hit. And during that day of recurrences, see what happens. You're going to be very much fascinating and learning curve. And this is like firsthand, and you begin to see that not only in your chart, but in other people's chart. You'll be able. It's, the benefits are very beneficial, and it gives you a very good firsthand knowledge of not, just not reading it in sense of that, which is important, but to actually feel it and experience it, so to speak. And you can see that kind of occurrences. Maybe they have a telemarketing that approaches the door to door, ringing a bell. See if that's a Mercury or Uranus that comes out of a all out of the second, out of the blue, and you can see the benefits of it. So there's other things you're going to be using in techniques further because you have progressions or solar arcs or what you may use um, on your preference, and you can see the benefits of how that will happen during the day. So I think I'm excited about this, and I think I may end this right now because there's a lot that I have thrown at you. And for those who haven't had no experiences with midpoints, please be advised. I want to go over a little bit more step by step so we can get this acclimated, or rather, you become acclimated, pardon me again, um, to see how this runs with you. So, but it's important to routinely have that notebook and keep persistence on your due diligence and doing it, like keep it up for 30 days and see the example. Now, I recommend just not just doing it once a week or 3 times a week. Do it for the due diligence, whatever is your convenience during the month, and set up a day that's very conducive for you. Now, I know some days it may be actually a little bit harder to do that based off your, you know, family or what have you, work job. But there's always off hours that you can utilize this. And if not, doing the job, you can set that alarm off, and you may have it if it's feasible, because some jobs you may not have the luxury of doing that. But keep it in mind that you will actually have opportunities during various ways, and that can happen even on vacation if you have that, or if you're traveling. um the time that you're going, and that has a representation. So there are midpoints representing a lot of experiences on that whole spectrum. But the important thing is just to focus on a couple of them. And that's why I think why earlier I mentioned midpoints. The sun, midpoint, the sun, moon. Very important. Now, again, if you have the correct time of your chart, you'll begin to, if not, then maybe you'll see a pattern of how you've made adjustment, which is a process of rectification. Now, it's not going to make you a star proponent, but in time, practice, you will find your own way of taking it. But it's very important just to keep that consistency up, knowing the actual moment and or relevance, because you have 4 minutes to observe that if you're going by the timing of the daily trances of the ascendant and the midheaven, and then you have 3 hours, once 2.5, pardon, 2.5 hours per month. When those actually more, but it could, because it depends on not just focusing on the sun and moon. But again, if you have a good timing, then your chart is correct in the timing. There's the midheaven and the ascendant midpoint. Yes, they have a midpoint too. You can see if there's a planet when you discover them. Now, you're probably saying, "Oh, how am I going to get all these midpoints? I'm just adjusting." Well, basically, if you have, you can probably, and I'll investigate later on. But I use generating solar fire, and it can be generated in other ones. WinStar is another one, and various other ones. I'm sure Janus is one. It depends on what software you have, but it's kind of now the standard of how we look at charts, or actually standard meaning how we calculate charts. And they do what we call a sort or midpoint listing. It varies from software to software. And once you get that list, print it out or write it down on a piece of paper. But just print it out preferably, and just get you a highlighter or a pen and underline those particular degree and minutes of your midheaven. And you'll notice it even in synastry, which is another step. So I'm getting a little further ahead of myself, but we're going to explore various techniques of the midpoints and this midpoint practice, because I'm coming out of another system that I'm very much have been for a long time, uh, practicing or looking and utilizing techniques. Uranian astrology, some of you may or may not heard of it, and the other one is cosmobiology. Um, it is very interesting, noteworthy. So again, thank you for your listening and time, and I'm really looking forward to your experiences. And please write comments, whatever you do, and please like and subscribe, because we can join this little community or workshop or community of us working together on this primary. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas and expressions, what you feel, what may you be comfortable and not comfortable, and you may not, just feel a little fuzzy. So please be advised, I will get to it with questions. Just note them down on the channel. So until then, everybody enjoy your day wherever you're at, and peace.